So these silos have been around for decades, and they're obviously a hugely significant monument to the farmers around here. You can see this silo from kilometres and kilometres away. I think that every mural that I've done throughout Australia and the world of Indigenous cultures has always created a small shockwave, because I choose to paint people that have been disregarded, and it's put thoughts back into the minds of the people that have chosen to forget them.
They say, oh, we didn't know there was Aboriginals living there, and we don't see any when we go through the town. And
People, they've forgotten about it.
there's a lot of people that won't admit it, but if you're in a certain shops and there's certain people serving you, they don't put the money in your hand, they'd rather put it on the counter and push it towards you.
So to have this standing at such a height with an Aboriginal mural on it, celebrating Aboriginal culture and commemorating them, is a massive thing for the whole of Australia.
There's still a lot of hangover from the past,
And so we're kind of stuck in that situation. And I think a lot of it is they don't have an understanding about us or what was going on back when we were kids. I remember when I was about 3, maybe 4, and the government had came out and they had told the old people they weren't allowed to speak the language anymore to us, they weren't allowed to tell us any of the stories anymore, or else their kids would be taken away by welfare and placed in homes. So then the ancestors, the old people just shut up. We didn't learn anything after that.
From first contact, Aboriginal people were under the Flora and Fauna Act. My father was in the Second World War and people weren't recognised as part of the population. It was very complex. The 1967 referendum changed things a bit, but fancy going to war and you're not really considered human. So that was pretty offensive. A lot of people don't even know that history.
One of the most important things with my murals is to create conversation about a culture that has experienced such hardcore genocide over the last couple of 100 years.
I don't know why it is swept under the carpet all the time and all that, but I think it should be spoken about more often.
A lot of people say, oh, why should I feel guilty for what happened 100 years ago? It's not me that did it, But it's not about that. It's not about them feeling guilty. It's about the awareness and the understanding, and it's about them just being recognised. I mean, we're in such denial in Australia. The Indigenous people, it's massive.
Why should we keep suffering from the past is what I sometimes feel.
We've still got trauma coming down from what's happened that gets transferred over the generations. When your kids grow up, they're living what you're going through as well, as much as you might try to hide things.
And we're trying to move forward. The white people are now here and yes, they've bought land and our generation have accepted that. The way to probably move forward is through the children, because racism has been handed down from parent to parent to parent to child to child to child.
There's a huge push to get more understanding happening in schools. If you don't understand where a different culture's coming from, it's very hard to be able to support them. And we're not all the same. We're very diverse. It can be easily said that we've lost everything, but we haven't.
Eventually down the line, hopefully, the wider community here will accept us as Aboriginal people in our community.
I'll often hear when I paint murals in these communities that the elders would never have ever imagined in their lifetime to see these large-scale murals celebrating them and their people.
We've never had anything like that in this area. Me and my daughter were there and she was very fascinated with it, and so were the little girls.
It's a really big thing for us and for our culture.
People in the community are just really buzzing about it. I mean, it's all the talk in the community.
We're from the people that survived, and it's something to be proud of. So it will make an impact, I think, reminding people that, yeah, there is an Aboriginal history here.
So I think that's a bloody good thing.